Hello, and thanks for joining me for episode number 57 of The 1-5. As always, I am your podcast hostess, Trisha Lewis, and in this weekly podcast, I hope to bring you some great EdTech tools, tips, and tricks. Well, here I am back again with a podcast. I took a hiatus that mixed in a holiday break and a bout of the flu that I would not want to wish on anyone. Now that I'm feeling 100% or as close to it as I can, I wanted to get back on the mic and reboot the weekly podcast. In this week's episode, I will be talking about my demo experience with Apple Vision Pro. Here's a brief 411 about Apple Vision Pro. Apple Vision Pro is a spatial computer that blends digital content and apps into your physical space and lets you navigate using your eyes, hands, and voice. It can transform any room into your own personal theater. It features ultra-high resolution displays that deliver more pixels than a 4K TV for each eye. Now on to my personal demo. I scheduled the demo at my local Apple store in Madison, Wisconsin for a Sunday afternoon. After a leisurely drive, I made my way to the store and I was greeted and then the demo started. The Apple associate I worked with was amazing, so thoughtful and answered all of my questions. I did a brief facial scan for the headset and then after a few moments, my demo unit arrived from the back room. I put on the headset, adjusted the band, which didn't take much adjustment, and went through the welcome process. Let me say this right now. The Apple Vision Pro was nothing what I expected it to be. I had Google Glass way back in the day, and I currently own a Meta Quest 2 headset, but the Vision Pro is a totally different experience. The view of keeping the real world in sight while in the virtual world was a unique experience. I was guided on how to use the hand gestures to manipulate the menus and apps, and I was amazed that even with my arms resting on the table, the gestures were able to be read by the headset. We took a tour through the Photos app, and viewing a panoramic photo on the Vision Pro is quite amazing. I asked what kind of special camera took those panoramic photos, and the associate answered that any panoramic photo taken on any iPhone can be viewed in the immersive environment. Wow, talk about being backwards compatible. I was able to open a few apps at the same time and then be able to look around and switch between them. I was then directed to open the Apple TV app and watch a couple trailers of movies in what seemed like my own personal 200-seat theater. The time flew by when I was using the headset, and then the associate told me about a special new video format Apple developed for the Vision Pro and showed me a demo of video of images and music that I've honestly have to admit moved me to a few tears. The music and content was just right, but also it was the emotion of the new computing experience that really took me. Taking off the headset, I thought about how awesome it would be to own one of them. No, I did not purchase a Vision Pro. The price tag of over $4,000 with tax is just a bit too high, and I'm looking forward to the subsequent versions of the Vision Pro and then maybe being able to own one. I also thought about how spatial computing could enter education, and truly, I do see a place for it. The Vision Pro could bring things to life that many students may never experience, and that immersive world could lead to learning connections that could have never been dreamed possible before. I also thought about students with special needs or physical limitations, that the Vision Pro might bring them a level of productivity that they had never been able to do. All in all, it was well worth the drive to the Apple Store for the demo. If you have a chance to schedule your own demo, I highly recommend it. Do you want to learn more about EdTech in your learning environment? Check out my website, trishalewis.com. There you can explore my resources, subscribe to my weekly email newsletter, and contact me. Don't want to miss any episodes in the future? Be sure to go to your favorite podcast app and search for the 1-5 podcast and subscribe. Feel free to review and rate and let me know what you think of this podcast. Keep in mind the information shared on this podcast may take additional clearances from your tech department to work properly in your district, school, or classroom. I have vetted all the information shared on this podcast and is available and or correct on the date the podcast is originally published. But remember that services, sites, or products can change or become unavailable without a lot of notice. Thanks for listening, and join me next week for another episode of The 1-5.